Mhm.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to our global community, global families out there, nurses and midwives in charge, wherever you are. I say thank you for finding time to be here today. This is an amazing opportunity to be here with our ambassador, Mrs. Cecelia Kpangbala-Flomo, and speaking with you, my name is Dr. Nyepu Kemoho, the founder of Nurses in Charge Global, the founder of Nurses and Midwives in Charge Liberia, and God has made it possible for us to be alive today. So thank you, Jesus, for making it possible, giving us life and breath to speak on your behalf, to be stewards of your healing ministry. So I say thank you for those who are joining us on our social media from LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So with that said, I want to actually congratulate all of the midwives who are all over the world. Midwives who have never been told thank you. I say happy International Midwives Day. In fact, Nurses in Charge has dedicated the 5th of May into the 16th of May to nurses and midwives. So we have activities that have been running throughout since the first. Actually, we've been showcasing this entire event, the weeks that are coming up. So we say thank you for what you do. Thank you for using your God-given talents to serve humanity. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. I want to just take further time here to welcome our nurses and midwives in charge who have shared their story. This is the Share Your Nurse Story podcast with Nurses in Charge Global, where we connect, we celebrate, and we empower nurses and midwives around the world. Today is a very special day. I believe you've heard me say that twice or maybe 3 times. As we celebrate International Nurses and Midwives Day, we're honoring the incredible professionals who stand at the beginning of life itself. They are receiving human lives in their hands when God gave that opportunity for a baby to be born in this world. So just think about the billions of people that have been born. They were born in a midwife's hand, whether it was at a hospital or just at home, because nowadays, modern day has provided us home birth, even more innovative ways to deliver babies at home safely without complications. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I see people are already showing up. The comments are filling up. Um, Social media I see here in YouTube is great because when you in YouTube is more interactive. So thank you. Do share, like it, share it, and subscribe because every Sunday, for the most part, every Sunday we're here sharing some great news. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to introduce Madame Cecelia Kpangbala-Flomo, a distinguished nursing and midwifery leader. She is a regulatory expert, a global advocate whose work continues to shape the future of nursing and midwifery in Liberia and beyond. She will tell you more as she comes on. Madame Flomo currently serves as the Registrar and Executive Secretary of the Liberian Board of Nursing and Midwifery. a role she had held with excellence since 2012. Under her leadership, Liberia in West Africa, for those of you who do not know where Liberia is located, has experienced significant advancements in nursing and midwifery through strengthening governance, accreditation for over 30 institutions, curriculum reform, and the modernization of licensing and regulatory systems. She holds 2 masters. You heard me right. She holds 2 master's degrees in public health and has completed prestigious global leadership programs. She is ever learning. Sounds like most nurses to me, but she is spearheading this arena, including those with Harvard and Global Nurses Leadership Institute. Her influence extends internationally through her service with organizations such as the International Council of Nurses and the West African Postgraduate College of Nurses and Midwives. Over the past 3 decades, Madam Flomo has also served as did I say past decade? I believe I'm way aging her. 3 years she has served as Nurses in Charge ambassador to Liberia without wavering. You can call her, you can text her, you can email her. She is always at the call of duty to this organization, where her leadership has been instrumental in expanding Nurses in Charge across the country, Liberia, successfully establishing 7 chapters just in 2024, and supporting the impactful NIC Tour nationwide documentary project of 2024. She is a recipient of the Pioneer Nurse Award in 2025, awarded to her by the Nurses in Charge Global, and the Paul Harris Fellow Award. Madam Flomo is deeply committed. I believe you have already heard that through my speech here. She's deeply committed to mentorship, ethical leadership, and advancing the nursing and midwifery profession. Ladies and gentlemen, nurses and midwives in 23 nations that God Almighty has expanded our horizon. Our territory are enlarged indeed. Jabez prayed, Nurses in Charge prayed, our territory are being enlarged. We don't stop there. I want you to please join me wherever you are. If it is reactions, or you are just going to send some likes and reposting, please do that. Warmly welcome a true leader, a mentor, a champion for nurses and midwives, Madam Cecelia Kpangbala-Flomo. Thank you, Ambassador. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is my profound pleasure to have you today for this conversation. You are muted. We want to hear your beautiful voice. Oh, my sister, you're still muted. I can barely hear you. Technology will do that to you. You think you're speaking to the world, and it's like, nope. Oh, let me see. Is there something I can do on my end? Let's see here. Edit max setting. No. Check your end and see. If not, you can get out and come back in. It may be more suitable to do that. I've had this happen before. Amazing, amazing. Hold your seats, guys. Just wait till you hear from this amazing leader. Thank you, Clement. Thank you for joining us from Ghana. Thank you, Pastor Lavera. Thank you for joining us today. Sit back. She is coming. She is coming. Technology has a way of interrupting good conversations. Just when you think you are about to get into the juicy conversation, technology would throw you to the
Hello, are
I
you hearing me?
hear you. Perfect.
Wow. I
I
was
don't know
saying,
what.
yes, I don't know what went wrong because I'm unmuted. Both video and audio. I've been sitting and listening. So excited, like I said, to be introduced by a high profile leader like my funder,
Oh,
the global nurses in charge of post with her humble leadership and including midwives who are also powerful part of the workforce of the Republic of Liberia as the nurses midwife in charge Republic of Liberia. I'm quite excited to be here.
thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's get this conversation started. As we know, you are here today as the face and the voice for nurses and midwives globally. Because you have really traveled the world. You have gone to conferences, and your legacy speaks on the impact of your journey as a nurse and midwife. And but today we are hovering over the midwives because today is their day. It is International Midwives Day. I don't want any midwives out there to feel like, oh my goodness, and I see they not recognize us. Listen, guys, I don't go to sleep, and I see as a toothbrush. When I think of nurses and midwives, it just brings joy to my heart. So this conversation is really and totally about the midwives who have reshaped the world, and they continue to do remarkable works. So, on that note, please tell us, and this goes really to even the audience that we have today. Tell us what has shaped your journey, because our ambassador will be giving us so much more information on her part. But what has shaped your journey in nursing and or midwifery, and how has that been such how has that been meaningful for you? So, Madam Kpangbala-Flomo, I know I introduced you, but please say your full name, tell us a little bit about yourself, and I want them to hear from you. I just want them to hear you.
What can I say? You have just done the introduction. Let me extend my profound gratitude to everyone who has jumped into this conversation today to listen to us as we hailed midwives globally, regionally, of course, nationally. I will quickly start to recognize the distinct and esteemed leadership of nurses in charge, as I said, both globally and nationally. All of our esteemed guests that have made their way on this conversation, partners, global partners, regional partners, of course, our own midwives. I was proud today not to mention a part of nursing and on nurses issue here, because as you said, the Bible says this is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad. We can only rejoice with good things. And one of the good things the Lord has given the whole world is that of the midwifery profession. So I'm quite excited to be here. I have worked as a midwifery leader, a nursing leader for the past 17, 18 years. And all I have strived to envision in collaboration with people like you, Dr. Hord, and all other persons on this podcast is to elevate the midwifery profession. And like you said, as a leader, I refuse to sit down. I refuse to do it alone. I use the collaborative approach to reach out there to as many as I can. I open up, and my journey actually started with the issue of compassionate care. How can I care for one that needs care the most? And as you know, a midwife is identified as the key. And it means that my vision is equally shared with a midwifery vision. I am not a midwife that educational background, but I'm a midwifery leader, and I do know for the past years I have interacted with midwives that midwives are the foundational tools for any population. For any population, you must recognize the midwife. So in my policy journey, in my leadership journey, I cherish the midwives. As like you are saying, when I got into this position, Liberia historically was training midwife at the certificate level. And by then we called them the certified midwife. At that level, midwife did not have career ladder. They would go to school, keep at the certificate level, and for any point in time when they need to elevate their educational background, they will have to start anew. And this didn't go down with me and the team. Like I say, I work through team. So everything I'm saying here today is credited to a teamwork. I worked and approached the team, wrote out proposals to our partners, and convinced the world that if any other person can be educated at the highest point of education, that person should be a midwife.
Mm.
It is upon this backdrop that my journey with midwifery profession started very uniquely in the Republic of Nigeria. And that also can be attested by all of the contributions we've had. You know, the WHO mentioned that the gap in the shortage of midwives is quite huge. And that's what brings us today to today's theme, 1 million more midwives. And 1 million more midwives means every midwifery leader should stand up to the challenge of meeting the needs of the world midwifery men. And that is where I stand for. So in the Republic of Liberia, we participated under my leadership and all other good midwifery and nursing leaders. So elevate the midwifery profession from being just certified to as high a master's level. So we developed the first midwifery curriculum that taught certified midwife to registered midwife, because registered midwife now became the professional level that was recognized by the International Council of Midwives, ICM. So therefore, we activated and encouraged and even got a sponsorship from the UNFPA that supported most of our vibrant midwives in their academic journey. So that put midwifery on the map, not just in Liberia, but globally and regionally. And today, we can boast of the midwifery career being expanded We now have midwifery educators at the master's level. We now have midwifery leaders. We now have midwives who are researchers who work with private and government institutions who lead health reproductive, sexual reproductive health programs even at the Ministry of Health. So this is my journey with midwifery. My love for midwifery goes beyond because I too joined the world to recognize that midwifery is key. And that covers up in all of our global communities. Even the World Health Organization, within the state of the world's midwifery report, noted that we are short of midwives about 900,000. That is a challenge to me as a regulator because the production of midwives within the Republic of Liberia, which I know even it also aligns with the region, starts from my desk, starts from my office, starts from my leadership, which means the pillars for which you produce a competent midwife starts with regulations. And that's why from my own desk to join the global communities, to join the WHO, UNFPA, ICN, I emphasize that for every one investment one made into midwifery, whether it's the regulation, whether it's the production, it used 16 folks, it used life. And that's why I've dedicated my time to educating the midwifery education because that is the production side of any midwife. So of recent, as we approached the month of May, as I taught of the dignity of midwifery, as I taught of the contribution of midwives, as I taught of the theme, this year's theme, 1 million more midwives, ask myself, what can I do? Because 1 million more midwives highlight the urgent global shortage of the midwifery workforce. So we have been into revising as part of my legal responsibility as a midwifery leader. We revised the midwifery curriculum Liberia currently has. And that's revision has been going on with the help of the department for almost 2 years. So we had to conclude that as we enter the month of May to recognize the dignity of midwifery and to recognize the huge contribution that no one can turn down. I usually tell people the return you get for investing into a midwife cannot be measured. If all leaders would think that investment into a midwife or investment into the midwifery profession yield beyond any economic benefit, we will all place everything we have to place into the midwifery profession. Let me know if I have to stop action. But my vision, like I said, my journey with the midwifery has stemmed from a long journey. That's why I always push for my vision for midwifery in Liberia goes beyond just producing, goes beyond just saying you do have a midwife. It goes as far as strengthening what we call the regulation and the standards. That makes the profession vibrant. And you know, midwifery is discipline. If you think historically, where Florence Nightingale took the nursing profession from, and now we are all having different branches and working in different capacities. It tells you that she was disciplined. She was a God-fearing woman. She was someone who looked out to help somebody. And I think the midwife falls directly into that space. So my vision for midwifery in the Republic of Liberia, which I have done for the past years, as you read from my profile, is to elevate the regulation and standard of midwifery education, midwifery practice, midwifery service. And that calls for more investment into the midwifery profession, like I said, starting from the education. So what did we do in recent days, in recent months, to join this day today, to join you who are online, to join Dr. Hall with a worry of letting the midwives know that you are the most important. We concluded the revision of what we call the registered midwifery curriculum. We have had curriculum, but the policy we had to update every 5 years. And I chose to prioritize the midwifery curriculum because I know that there's huge demand on the midwives. And how can we meet the demands? How can we meet the emerging needs of our population? Is to invest in the tools we use to teach. Therefore, we revise with the help of our partners, expertise firms. Now we spend 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks in Nima County. I'll show you travel to Nima. We prioritize midwifery leaders, senior administrators, managers. We invited them to speak about midwifery production in the Republic of Liberia, starting with making them to understand how do we use the midwifery curriculum. And you know the midwifery curriculum is educational tools you use to produce. So, but it has some policy dimensions. How can these senior managers, senior leaders support the policy dimension of the implementation of the revised curriculum? How can you have competent faculty that will transcend into producing a competent midwife? So we were there with them 3 days and we developed what we call a confirmation statement. That statement compares every midwifery senior manager to provide every resource, both for theoretical implementation and clinical implementation for the revised curriculum. After that, we also brought together 40 faculties because we have like 10 midwifery schools so far under my leadership, in collaboration, under our leadership, we've been able to increase the number of schools as compared to when we, in the past, before we had this position. So we invited them and we spoke. It was quite a period of reflection. What have we done as faculties in the classroom that have led to the misstep of service provision? What have we done that have promoted service provision? We told faculties that you are the first leader. Like a child will meet a parent, you are the first leader that a midwifery, an ambitious young lady, young man who is leaving from the walls, what we call high school in Liberia, secondary school, that will say, I am going to become a midwife because I want to be part of the 1 million midwife. How do you start with them? What do you teach them? How do you mentor them? What's the fellowship you bring to the profession? What's the compassion? How realistic you are? How do you teach? How do you pay your courses? We introduced them to 5 days at the hall. It was quite amazing. Wow. If you listen to the recording, when we had a closing ceremony, when we were giving them their continuing professional development certificate, it was quite amazing. But this is the work we do. This is our call for every leader, every partner we meet. What can we do for the midwifery profession in the Republic of Liberia? Because when the production is weak, service provision is weak. The Ministry of Health depends on us as the regulatory agency to produce and give. So the revised curriculum cover, we've had it before, but this time it's strengthened what you call the competencies. And that competencies, we prioritize the knowledge competency, we prioritize the skills competency, but we also inform the teacher that going forward, every course must incorporate attitude competence because attitude is as equal and even more weighted than your knowledge and your skills. Because if you cannot apply them in a space to accommodate, to provide human dignity to that woman that only sees you at that point when no one sees her, when no one can support, but you can support. I usually tell midwives, I say, you are an extension of God's work on earth. When Genesis says he made man in his own image, you also are there as the face to support that man. And remember, you are supporting two lives.
Yes.
The life that is giving life and the life that is generating. And that life will be your very own. So we sat on that analysis table and we made a huge analysis. Because to implement the curriculum, the end users are the faculties. And eventually, we move on April 29 to disseminate and launch. We had a great program as part of supporting the health workforce. We also support, we encourage midwives to be licensed and competent. The profession calls for order internationally, nationally, to protect the work we do. Our mission is to produce ethical professionals who are qualified that can be given the legal title of a midwife or is registered midwife. So one of our pillars is to promote competency. How do we produce? How do we support? How do we deliver? We strive to not allow gap in any of those deliveries. And we usually tell our midwives, in the midst of limited resources, innovation helps.
Yes.
Innovation helps. Innovation provides that deep compassion that no one takes from you. Sometimes people are not around to support you in your profession. They are around to discourage you. But you know why? I told the faculty, no one is going to make our profession disappear because of the lack of support. We have to reproduce ourselves in the midst of limited resources. How do we innovate in our schools? How do we innovate as nurse educators? How do we innovate as service providers? How do we promote as first to meet and last to care? I usually tell the midwife, how do we promote gender equity? How we combat harmful practices that harm our clients? And that's the beauty of the midwife. No one pays a midwife for going beyond as a counsel. When you are providing service, your employer calculate your salary based on that service and time. But midwives go beyond, 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 beyond. How can we innovate to support these midwives in their work? Is the last I will maybe pause for discussion. Of course, the accelerator published by UNFPA just last April 2025 brings up to the realization that the issue of midwifery cannot be overemphasized because midwifery led service support healthy population. And I will say before I pause, let's cultivate every leadership ability we have to support our midwife. Say to our midwife today, thank you for making me, because at first point in time, when my mother needed you, you show up, and that's why I'm here. I tell myself, I say midwives. If you remove the MID and you remove the W, you add life. Where there are midwives, there are always lives.
Yes.
So just navigate the spelling. MIDW, remove it. Take one L and add it, which is a love. You also have lives. So everywhere you see a midwife, you see life. Therefore, the issue about supporting midwifery should be all hands on deck. Governments, international, regional partners, please let's strengthen the midwifery. And how to strengthen the midwifery profession? We must invest into regulation, we must invest into education, we must invest into service delivery, but most of all, we must invest into the midwife. Because
Yes.
while you don't have, you don't give. I will pause here for anything.
What you don't have, you don't give. Woo! You know, I've been trying to track some of the remarkable sayings that you drop in there. I had to just grab this last one. What you don't have, you cannot give. You can only give what you have. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for elaborating on the extent of your work, right? How much you've been working and truly with your team to bring Liberia's midwifery uh, professionals so far from 2012 into the current time. And when I look back at 2012, I am looking at a critical time post Civil War Liberia. And this is a time where schools are they are revamping, they are just making space and talk about a civil war that claimed the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. And now we're coming to start um, education, even at the higher education level. You came in at a strategic time, and you have continued to be instrumental, you and your team. So when you mentioned the vital role that nurses that midwives play in society, I wanted to really take people back to the Bible. Midwives been disrupting. They've been disrupting societies from the get-go before some of us were even before we were even thought about to be born. So
Yeah.
let me take us to Exodus chapter 1, verse 15. Exodus chapter 1:15. This is the story of Moses, right? We know Moses was the one that took the Israelites from Egypt into the promised land. But listen, guys, the king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, whose name was Shiphrah and Puah. So the king is commanding these midwives to do something very unethical, very much unethical. Let me take you guys there. So when I think about when I see nurses in charge, I see nurses and midwives in charge. I love to always take people back to our biblical foundations. So here, the king of Egypt told the midwives, when you are helping the Hebrew women during childbirth on the delivery stool, if you see that a baby is born, if you see that a baby is a boy, kill him. Okay, are we signing up to kill babies? Listen, we're in a diabolical world today where people can do some despicable things. But listen, the king said, kill the boy child. Why? Because he wanted to claim all of the boy's children so that the Jesus will not have his reign on earth. So he said, but if it is a girl, let her live. But guess what the midwives did? The midwives, however, feared God and did not do what the king of Egypt had told them to do. They left the boys alive. And guess what? Over time, we know that Moses was one of those boys that got discovered in a basket on the river, and that's his name comes from being a river child or something around that. So midwives been disrupting society, and that's just one biblical story that we can anchor our conversation around, to know that midwives are very much they are in a pivotal role to sway left or to sway right, to abort babies that today would be kings and queens. They have people's lives in their hands. They can either do the best for that baby to come out well, for that baby to be functional in their developmental stages, and be a a functional member of society, or they can destroy the life of that baby. So when we speak of midwives, let all of us know that the midwives that delivered us, right, gave that a tender, loving care to our mothers when they were in labor, going through contraction. The midwives had our lives in their very hands. So if their hands are dirty, if their hearts are not straight, they can do the worst things to us. So the training and making sure that they are competent in their role as scientists, as healthcare professionals, it is, words cannot speak our appreciation to you, Madam Flomo, for you and your team, because you don't work in silos, you work with a
Away.
team. So words cannot express our gratitude to you all for the work that you have done over these years, making sure that Liberia is structured in in a place where other nations can look and say, "Wow, Liberia is doing that." Look,
Yeah.
Liberia midwives are part of the postgraduate college of midwifery. Oh my
Yes.
goodness, how did they get that? Can we get a blueprint from them? Can we get the template? We become a beacon of light for others to see our light and come to it. So without a good leader who has a great vision, a vision that may be impossible for humans to achieve, but not impossible for God, here you are today, for all the works that you've done, for all your tirelessness. Every time I hear, oh, Madam Flomo, she's gone to, I see, and she's gone here, she's over there, it's because you want the best for the nation, you want the best for the profession, and you are at a crossroads. I would say a pivotal portion of those two professions where you are in the middle of them. Those two are inseparable. I believe this was our conversation years ago when we decided, okay, nurses in charge cannot just be nurses in charge in Liberia. We need to be nurses and midwives in charge. And that conversation went on, and we have achieved that. So,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
we have come a long way by the grace of God. Let me see what comments are coming through. But did that biblical story innovate anything in your mindset as to who we truly are, our identity as midwife? I am not a midwife, as you rightfully said earlier. I'm a nurse, but they are sisters, right? They are brothers. We work side by side.
Yeah. And midwives, they are not just birth attendants. They are That's their role. However, the demands for what they do demand them to go beyond that. They are advocates, like you said, like the Bible story. They
Mhm.
are advocates for women. They educate women because most times women carry a lot of burden, societal burden. Sometimes you want to wonder a woman is going for 9 months and you just don't know what is going through more or what is going with her. But this midwife is the one that will walk alongside this woman. This midwife plays with this woman. This midwife informs this woman for every antenatal care that, yeah, this is where we are. This is where you are. No husband does that. A midwife will do that. So I say they are advocates. They are beyond the health facility. They are in the communities. And one thing that you have just said for the Bible story, their lives guaranteed. They bring dignity to life. So Pharaoh, in his mind, as a very poor decision maker, as a leader, wanted to interrupt the work that a midwife would do. But midwives go beyond that because when they stand at that service station, it is between they and their God. Because the child, the infant is as innocent, powerless. The woman is also at that emotional need that is also powerless. But all of the decisions that a midwife takes at that moment is strictly for God's instruction. So you are right. God's instruction to a midwife is nothing to play with because no one plays with God's creation. So I wonder why a king will want to play with God's creation. You could play with any other thing that is to your disposal, but not God's creation. Because that is what he made. That is within him. That's why he says, let us make man. He called attention and said, let us make man in our own image. That's Genesis. And no one destroyed God's image. So that is a very good thing. And that's why midwives need to come to that. Yes, they bring dignity to life. However, we ourselves need to dignify the midwives in order to support them. We need to support the midwives to support them. Communities need to support the midwife to support them. Of course, authorities, leadership need to create a conducive environment. The sacrifices midwife they do deliver at any time, anywhere. There is no midwife that will tell you I will schedule the labor to come when I'm available. It comes anytime, and when it comes, it's a call to duty. That midwife goes, and this is the pinnacle. This is God given. This is the whole portion of God's given responsibility.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We don't have enough time to really expand on this topic and get to the depth of it because there's so much more to be talked about when it comes to the importance and the journey, their importance, and their their impact on society at large and Liberia being specific, right? So we just say thank you. Thank you to all midwives. Thank you to all midwives out there, including my mother. My mother is a midwife, and that's her blowing the chat with all of her emojis. And I don't know how this lady learns to find all of these things. She finds them and she knows how to put them. She's been a midwife. She's been a nurse all my life, over 40 years. And when you say they are in the community, thank you, Naya, because as a little girl, I will follow her because, they will give me kaya, they will give me something while we're on the trip, right?
Yeah.
So she'll go to communities and train elderly women how to screen for high-risk pregnancies and report it. And then the ones that they could deliver, they will deliver those babies. And then the husband will bring them palm wine, give them some gifts because of their great work. But then to make sure that if you see a baby that is breached, a baby that is a mother that's high risk, do not touch her. And they knew their limits. So she started saving lives. Maternal child mortality started to drop drastically in Bon County because she went from village to village, and I was her little pocketbook. And truly, I sit here today at the age of 9. I knew I wanted to become a nurse like my mother because she was a community, and she is still a community leader, truly spearheading a lot of changes. So yes, midwives are very much strategic at their works. They target a community and they know what they want to achieve to save lives in those communities. And we cannot say thank you enough, but may God bless you all as we go on this journey to continue the being stewards of the healing ministry of Christ. I say thank you. We're not working for ourselves. When we get discouraged, let us remember that Christ is our anchor and He is the one that rewards us. Even if a patient and their husband says, "We're not satisfied with your care," it's okay. We're humans. We not only make mistakes, but we are uh, 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 um, we're not we don't walk around with zero mistake a banner that will
No.
never make mistakes, or we will do everything perfect 100%. You cannot satisfy the whole world. So I bring message of strength. I bring message of resilience. It's something that you already live in, something you already practicing. This is ingrained in our
Yeah.
midwives. Otherwise, they wouldn't have stood up to King Pharaoh, you
Yeah.
know. And guess what? I encourage everyone to read that passage because God blessed the women because of the midwives. He blessed their wombs. Those who are barren, He blessed them because the midwives opened the channel, they opened the doors. They were ethically practicing. They weren't going to switch their, like to veer left, veer right in their value system. They have moral compass, but this king wanted just to kill all boys, children, so that he will be able to kill the Christ in his in his pathway as he was doing that. But the midwife said, "No, we cannot do this." And guess what? When courage thrive over fear, courage thrive over harassment by leadership or whoever they are, God rewards us. So I say thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, midwives out there in Liberia, in those hard to reach communities. You are working alone with minimal resources. When we did the tour, we saw it. We saw it. And by the grace of God, God is working in the background, making things, He works in the front line as well. But He is crafting something so that we can give back to your community. By the grace of God, we have not forgotten you. But every time it's time to give your flowers, we will come on board. We will come here, we'll come there, we'll make sure the whole wide world learns about everything that Madam Kpangbala-Flomo had to say about the work that her and her team are doing in Liberia through the nursing board of the nursing and midwifery board in Liberia. They're not sitting still. Things are not happening out of vacuum, but they are truly putting on team spirits and working together with the government, working together. And by the way, I just posted your award picture that it was just in April 8th. I saw that. I was like, oh my goodness, this lady is doing something again. But when you shine, God, when the light of God is in you, you cannot hide it. So congratulations. I saw that and I see everything you do. You are always available to the call. You are always there because that is truly leadership that says, I am here. I'm here to serve so others can follow my path and footprints and see what imprints I've left for them to follow through. So thank you so much. And I thank our audience who have come along. I see a lot of them. Listen, the beauty of this recording is that it'll be on Facebook, it'll be on LinkedIn, it'll be on YouTube. So those who don't know what you're doing in Liberia, they just got a glimpse of it. They may want to even reach you and say, "How can I help you? How can we partner? How can we collaborate and make a better Liberia and make a better journey for nurses and midwives?" Because, like I said, you serve both worlds. You know, you are there for the nurses, you are there for the midwives, and you have your switch, right? Your 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 baton. You have it when we did a tour. They like, she wants everything very proper. She don't cut corners. You better make sure when she tells you this her checklist, have it all together. So thank you, because we don't want
Thank you.
leaders that can bend the rule and and don't build anything that can last. So thank you so much for what you do for all of us. We have all become your children. We say thank you. Thank you, thank you. Everyone, please just put in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm posting more of the chat. What I see people writing here. Recipient of the President Barkai Award on strengthening nursing and midwifery regulations in Liberia. Yeah, this is a great news, and this is her. She's right here. So please, in that chat, say something to her. You congratulate her, give her flowers. Be like my mother, who got all these emojis. She got stars, she got trophies, she got love, she got a heart. Everything is in there. I mean, this lady, I don't know, personality was built for Neil because she got it all out there. Madam Ambassador, don't mind me. Sometimes I put a little bit of April jokes in there because I
Which
love
is really great. Which is really great.
her. Please give us a closing statement. What can we walk away with on this beautiful day as our colleagues are celebrating their milestones?
The first thing is the highest appreciation to the leadership of NIC, Global, the NIC Liberia, and Nursing Midwifery Charge Liberia have always asked us to join a team in promoting midwifery profession, in promoting nursing profession. And then, of course, today our honorees, every midwife within a group, every midwife within Liberia, I hailed the originator that said there must be a day which is called the International Day of the Midwife. That's the greatest. If you see me today, I'm wearing blue because in Liberia, that's the color of a midwife. So I hailed the midwife. I appreciate them this day. I think about them this day. I reflect that I was born in a hospital under the leadership, mentorship, um, compassion of midwife. And all I've come to say is thanks to the midwives have been there, and we are sure they will always be there because their hands are blessed by God, and what God is in is forever because He's the Alpha and the Omega. He's the beginning and the end. So no one prematurely ends what He's into. And that's why in words say he's the author and finisher of our faith. So he has authored every midwife's life. He has authored their professional journey. He knows it won't come easy. He knows sometimes we will not recognize you. We know sometimes you feel neglected. But please remember that that neglect is not as burdensome as you neglecting that infant, that murder, that adolescent, that menopausal mother who is confused and doesn't even know that that's just a menopausal symptom. You have to reach out for them. You have to intervene for them. That child, that adolescent that is being abused, that wife that is being subdued to some kinds of belief or some kinds of harmful traditional practices. Please note that we cherish you. We pledge our support for you. And let me call on all my leaders, policy makers, people who groan and move and shake our budgets and other things. Please remember, please calculate the midwife contribution. Don't just put salary for a midwife. The midwife is unique. You are not able to pay her for her smile. For the time she has to change quickly to intervene when a delivery should have been normal but turned to be complicated. You are not there those midnight hours. I usually tell people while you are sleeping as a banker, a midwife is up. So please let's invest into them and let's recognize that the return is a healthy nation. It's a safe motherhood, and when the mother is safe, the population is safe. Thank you, Honorable Paul. I appreciate it.
While you are sleeping, a midwife is awake. Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I truly appreciate all of you who are in YouTube, Facebook, watching, commenting. Thank you for taking our time to hang out with us today to recognize and celebrate midwives globally, and also to give our leader her flowers because she tirelessly worked to make sure um, change is happening, evidence-based practice is on board, regulations are being honored and being carried out in Liberia. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here today celebrating all the milestones over the years. So thank you, everyone. Godspeed, and may the Lord bless all of us and bring us back again next year to share better news than we could have today. Again, I on behalf of nurses and midwives globally, you all have a blessed day and continue changing the world we live in. Change it in the way you want to see it. Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. So nurses and midwives out there, let us connect, let us celebrate, and let us empower each other because a community that is that strong lasts forever. You'll have a wonderful day. May God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.